Okay, up next we have Ryan Blaney, and Ryan drives the number 21 Motorcraft Quick Lane Tire and Auto Center Ford for Wood Brothers. Ryan's coming off a great performance last week at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, and he's certainly put himself in position so far early this season to be one of the top candidates for the Sunoco Rookie of the Year in the Sprint Cup Series. Ryan, talk about the momentum that you hope to draw from last week's performance and translate that into a race here for you at Phoenix, and how your first practice went.
Yeah, anytime you have a good run the previous week, it builds a lot of momentum for the next week. And luckily for us, we had a good run at Vegas after a bad run at Atlanta, and so it showed that we can really rebound well, and hopefully we can ride this momentum wave over this weekend at Phoenix. It's my first time here in a Cup car, so the first practice, just trying to get myself used to the racetrack with these cars. We ran a little bit in race trim, and then we swapped over for the last two runs, and we were fairly happy. We got to make some adjustments for qualifying, but not a bad first practice for us. We'll see how qualifying goes.
Questions for Ryan Blaney, if you have one. Dominic, right here, my man, has one.
Dominic Otto, on the RacingExperts.com. So sitting inside the chase, 3 races into the season, 1 top 10. What do you credit to the fast start?
We've been fast all year. All 3 races this year, we've had a good race car. The finishes haven't really showed that. We got in the last lap wreck at Atlanta, which was unfortunate, but I think we showed our strength last week at Las Vegas. Running up front all day, just hard work from the Wood Brothers team and the Penske side of it, letting us in on some information and working very strongly together. We have a really great relationship with the 2 and 22, and they've been really helpful to us, and Brad and Joey have been very helpful to me too. So that's something that has really helped our success, and I think it's just going to get better and better with this team working together. We brought in some new personnel at the beginning of the year for this 21 team, and they do a great job already working together and communicating, and that just, I think, gets better with time. So as we get some races under our belt, I think we're just going to get better and better.
Let's go to here, Mike Hembry, right here in the red.
How's the subs? All right, I stole one. I'm waiting to eat it. I'm excited.
Mike Hembry, USA Today. Ryan, can you kind of put a percentage on with the Penske relationship you guys have? And is it sort of a 50-50 thing? You've had really fast cars. Can you say that the Penske people are a large part of that, or is it more your guys working on the cars on the weekends?
I want to say it's about 50-50, to be honest with you. Like I said, we get a lot of information from the Penske side, but really at the end of the day, it's this 21 team that finalizes the race cars, that set them up, that work on Jeremy Bullins and all of our engineers and our road guys. They do all of it. So it's half and half, I'm going to say, and I think that's just it's a great product of the communication is so well between the two teams that I think that's a big product of Jeremy Bullins working at Penske for 3 or 4 years before going to the Wood Brothers side of it. So him and Paul Wolf and Todd Gordon, they know each other very well, and their offices are right next to each other, and they're very open with each other. So it's half and half for sure.
Other questions? Right here.
Ryan, Stan Creekmore with RPMTonight.com. You're such a youngster, but when you took your first laps today, or even just before that, did you look at this track or feel in this track something from your past that you really loved?
This track was a lot different with these cars than I've ever been in, whether it was the K&N stuff or trucks or Xfinity cars. Just with the added horsepower of these Cup cars, off of 4 is pretty tricky, and I caught myself being really greedy, like you could be in a truck or any kind of other vehicle. So you have to be a lot more patient over there in that corner. It's just a really long, flat, slippery corner, and in a truck and a K&N car, you could get away with it just because they're under horsepower and have a lot of grip. And these, you can't be as aggressive. So that took me a few laps to get used to and kind of pull the reins back a little bit. But there are some other things you can apply to other vehicles. that are similar to the Cup cars here. But I definitely had to catch myself a little bit.
Anyone else have a question for Ryan? Let's go back to Mike. And then David, do you have one?
Ryan, you're kind of far enough into the year now to kind of have a expectation of how things might be. Is a win realistic this year? And it also looks like you can do well in points. How do you kind of play that with the idea that maybe we can make the chase on points? Do you stretch out trying to get a win or not?
The main goal is to win. We're not really here to points race. I want to win races, and that's every team's goal. And I don't, we're so early in the season, I don't even look at points. I don't care about that. I care about, trying to run like we did at Las Vegas. And honestly, that run last week, there was a point in the race where I'm like, man, we can, we work a little bit harder and things go our way. We might have a shot to win, a race if we have runs like this. I think if you always, or you consistently kind of run top 10, I feel like you're very close to trying to get a win. So I don't want to say it's out of the question. It's never out of the question for any team, especially with, restrictor plate stuff that we go to. You never know. I don't think it's fully out of the question. I didn't come into this year expecting to win. I don't think anyone really did that. Of course you want to, but you're not like, yeah, we're definitely going to win a race. You're not that confident. But I think we have a strong team, and it's definitely not out of the question. So
Go to David, and we'll finish with Dan.
David Scott from the Charlotte Observer. Ryan, excuse me. This will be another race where you're guaranteed a spot in the field with only 3 open teams. How much does that take the pressure off of you, knowing you have a spot and don't have to worry about racing in?
Well, it's good. You obviously wish to have more cars, but it's a strong field, that's for sure. Very, very strong field of cars, and like I said, you wish you had a little bit more. But in our position, having to qualify in, you just never know what can happen in qualifying. We can go out and I can wreck coming to the green if there was 41 cars and we'd go home. So. But there's really not been an issue in my mind of, I hope we can qualify in on speed, even if there was, cars that would go home, just because I know that we have great race cars. But I don't know, just kind of the way it is. It doesn't really bother me much, just because I know we have good race cars and we should be fine on that side, even if there was more cars.
Final question right there, Dan.
Dan Beaver, NBC Sports. Last week, you and Chase both ran in the top 10 for a big chunk of the race. How aware are you of the rookie battle, and do you pay attention to Chase during a race?
Yeah, he had a great run. The last 2 weeks, he's had a great run. He had a really good one at Atlanta, and it was unfortunate to see what happened to him at Las Vegas. He had a really good car, and we were right next to each other all race, really. So you don't ever want to see that. I don't want to ever see my buddies or get in wrecks, even if you are competing with them. I want the best for everybody, especially if they're your friends. So I'm sure they'll be just fine. But I don't look at the rookie point stuff really at all, just like I don't really look at the chase stuff right now. I'm sure we'll get later on in the season. I might pay attention to that. But right now we're focused on having runs like we did last week. And